Elle Duncan, fresh off game 2 of the NBA Finals. I cannot wait to dive deep into that. Oh, but wait, hold on. We're leading with Caitlin Clark again, something nobody's ever done.
Watch out, guys. We are next level. Hi. It's the beginning. It's the beginning of the potty, and I'm just already exhausted. Welcome to the Elle Duncan Show. The tired, aforementioned Elle Duncan, the exasperated Gary Streisky.
Mm-hmm.
I wake up on Saturday morning, and I felt really good because on Friday, after the Indiana Fever, also known as Caitlin Clark's team, beat the Mystics, she essentially was able to address the Kennedy Carter stuff, right? She was like, first of all, there's no grudges. Like, it's a competitive league, whatever. I don't care. She doesn't owe me an apology. It's fine. And then she essentially answered on the physicality of the league, something that has been debated longer than any flagrant foul has ever been debated in history. And she basically was like, in a very polite way, was like, yo, I knew the league was going to be physical because I have watched the WNBA my entire life. I knew what I was getting into. A little bit of a read on the people that like have all these opinions and have never seen the W before. So I'm thinking, thank you. We have put this controversy to bed, Garrett Bear. Good night. Yep. We don't have to talk about it anymore. She said, we're good. Move on.
Gucci.
Then we
Other
wake
sports
up.
to cover.
Yeah.
Other stuff to talk about.
Total chaos at 7:00 in the morning when Shams Charania and Christine Brennan blew up the sports world by revealing a leaked copy of the Olympic team roster, a roster that she is not on. Now, typically I would have been like, great, I'm just going to avoid sports media for the weekend because I know all these hot takes are going to be horrible, but I did have WNBA Countdown on Saturday, and a part of me felt like the timing was great because when things like this happen, sometimes you want the first voices to be the adults in the room, the most rational, the most pragmatic, the most well thought out, the most informed. And because I had the ability to sit next to two people that exemplify that, and Andrea Carter and Shea Gumake, I was like, all right, they're going to tell you why this is maybe not as surprising as you all may think and why, this happened this way, and give you some examples of rookies that did make the Olympic team, but why it was set up for them to be more successful than it would be for Caitlin. And they were very, I thought, measured. In fact, let's insert that sound right here. Here is them giving a very measured take on all this.
What has been the discourse this season, besides the play on the floor? It's been, who do we attribute, who do we give credit to for the growth of the women's game and the WNBA and the moment that we're in right now? I believe Team USA looks at the roster and they have experience, but they also don't want the distraction that comes. Now, me as a fan of Caitlin Clark, I would have loved to see her on this international stage, but I understand that Team USA constructs their roster not necessarily on fandom, but completing the mission, and I think that's what we see right now.
Also, just think about this. One, it's really difficult for a player coming right out of college to make the Olympic team because you miss camps, like I said earlier. But let's think about Breanna Stewart, right? She made the Olympic team when she was a rookie. Who was the coach of that team? Geno Auriemma. I'm not saying that's why she made the team, but there's a familiarity there that's going to help her be successful. There were also 4 other Connecticut Huskies on that team to help Stewie in her first Olympics. That's not the situation for Caitlin. Cheryl Reeve, who's the head coach, she's not familiar with Caitlin Clark, and the team's not familiar with Caitlin
But look,
Clark.
when you've been the preeminent dominant force in international basketball for 7 Olympic cycles straight, you'll realize that you can play loose and fast with who you want on the team. I know this personally, seeing my sister and Candace Parker being left off the squad. If you look at the point guards, I think that recent history now, they're trying to right some wrongs and build with experience. But overall, the point guards, there's going to be question marks about Chelsea Gray, who has yet to step on the floor for the Las Vegas Aces, and question marks even on Diana at 41. So yes, they're trying to right some wrongs, but also you have to look at what those circumstances of the past now open you up for.
Of course, no one wants to hear that. And they are big mad, Garrett Bear. They are big mad. And now those same patriot lovers who wave their flags and their Twitter avatars are threatening to boycott the Olympics and not support their country because Caitlin Clark ain't in it. Just saying, bro, you can't make this up.
I know, but this is the thing. We have to talk about it because we work at the worldwide leader of sports and debate, and we have to be there anytime, any place for all sports fans. But holy crap, we've been doing this show for closing in on a year, and I wouldn't be surprised if over half of them had Caitlin Clark as a top 2 or 3 topic every single episode. And it's only going to continue as the Paris games are bearing down. We are a little over a month away from August. Now we have a bunch of international friendlies that start in London as a tune-up to Paris. The roster hasn't officially been revealed. It's just the reported 12 women who are going to make up this U.S. women's national team, a national team that hasn't lost, or rather has only won gold medals since the 1996 Atlanta Games.
The inaugural one.
Correct. Which is a reason I think Caitlin Clark should be on the team. But let's get into some opinions that you, Chene, and Drea basically had to run through on that countdown show. And I appreciated how you said, hey, listen, about the popularity contest, the All-Star game is here. As far as international competition, the Olympics are here. I think there's a middle ground somewhere in between, but let's go through some of the takes and you give me the answer as to why it is or isn't the appropriate take. How about that?
Mm-hmm.
Take one.
Okay.
This is simply just bad for women's basketball as a whole, considering Caitlin Clark is the most popular, not just women's basketball player, but probably the most popular athlete in America right now.
No, because you just said the operative word, America. This is the Olympics. Okay. And what comes with that, they've won every single gold medal since 1996, is an expectation that you're going to win. I know to you, it's like, well, you're going to win every game. I saw that a lot on Twitter, Gary. They win every game by 50. What does it really matter if you just let Caitlin just come and ride the pine and be a mascot? First of all, you think that's what Caitlin wants? You think that she wants to be on the Olympic team as a marketing move because she's popular? She wants to earn her spot on the Olympic team. She is not one of the 12 best players in the WNBA right now. She will be. She will earn that spot undoubtedly, but nobody can make a compelling argument for why, beyond marketing and ratings, didn't know so many people had so much invested in NBC. They can't make any argument as to why beyond that. Like, that's literally, and I just think that's very disrespectful to Caitlin Clark. Like, you want everything just handed to her, and she doesn't want anything handed to her. She's earned every single thing that she's gotten to this point in her career with hard work and with doing it on the basketball court. Why do you want that to change for her now?
This, take two, is a bad look for the vets that want to keep her off of the team, be it because of jealousy at all.
Do any of you know how an Olympic committee works? This is not a straw poll. They don't ask the other Olympians or prospective Olympians. A lot of this is, and when, I sat with Dre and Chene, when they looked at this roster, they're like, the thing that the committee was going for here was experience. Even the first time Olympians were on the World Cup team a couple of years ago for the United States that also won gold. Or if they weren't on the full 5-man roster, like the full Olympic roster, they were involved in 3-on-3 in the Olympics when it came around for the first time in Japan in 2021. So there's a lot of familiarity there for these players because they've all played together at some point at an international level. So the idea that the vets just don't want Caitlin Clark on is just, again, so silly. They don't choose. And Arika Ogunbowale is well beloved and well received. And she's not on that Olympic roster. And she's the number 2 scorer in the WNBA. And years ago, you don't think Candace Parker was beloved? She was snubbed. Nneka Ogwumike was their captain on their team, their World Cup team, before the Olympics when they won gold, and she got snubbed. That's a snub, and she's well beloved and received. If the players themselves had anything to do with it, those snubs wouldn't have happened. So
Take 3. Partners, ad partners, marketing partners, broadcast partners, red hot mad.
Oh, for sure. Listen, this I agree with.
That's a fact.
100%. Bro, let me walk you through the conference room at ESPN when we got the women's bracket and we found out that we were going to potentially have Iowa and LSU in the Sweet 16 and not in the Final Four, or in the Elite 8 and not in the Final Four. We were red hot. We were like, why would you have them? We were angry, bruh. Like, we were like, why would you do this to us? Of course NBC's upset. Yes, of course they are. Like, that's the point. But that's also why advertisers and media companies don't have anything to do with the Olympic roster. But trust me, big mad, just like we were. Wish we could have had some kind of influence on that committee that chose that bracket the way they do, because man, we would have done some things differently.
And to a certain extent, a little upset that the Celtics are looking a little bit too good right now against the Mavericks, because I would listen, we don't even got to be greedy and say like 7-game series, but let's at least bring this thing back to Boston. But the way things are looking after last night, I mean, the Garden might have shut its doors for the last time this season, which, by the way, we are going to get into the NBA Finals, Game 2, and how Jaylen Brown has evolved and become the face of the franchise, albeit while not leading the team in scoring. That was from Drew Holiday in Game 1. It was Kristaps Porzingis. This team is an absolute juggernaut. But anyway, back to the takes. Take 4, Elle. It's simply not fair to keep Caitlin Clark off of this roster, given everything she's brought to the women's game since about her junior year in college.
Yeah, you're just like so disrespecting the rest of the Olympians by saying like it's not fair. Here's my question. Who are you taking off? And everyone keeps throwing out Chelsea Gray because she hasn't played yet this year. She hasn't played since Game 3 of the finals last year. Chelsea Gray is already an Olympian. She's a 3-time world champion in the W. She's one of the best guards in the world. I don't see how, even if and you don't know that she won't be ready by July, I don't see, if she is ready to go, how you could possibly take her off of the roster. And if you did take her off the roster, you could still make a much more compelling argument that Arike Ogunbowale should be able to get it. The thing that I want people to understand is that when you talk about fairness, or that, like, we teach our kids that life's not fair. We teach our kids that you can only control the controllables, how you show up, how hard you work. And then you have to hope that the rest speaks for itself. And in this particular instance, because Caitlin was fortunate enough to be playing in the national championship, didn't have an opportunity to go to camp that she was invited to and work with these women at all, because these women have never played with Caitlin Clark. And because, as my amazing coworkers also pointed out, Caitlin Clark is so special that she's not really a system player. She's not a plug and go. She's not someone that can have no familiarity with anyone she's playing with, and then you just put her in and let her cook. It doesn't really work that way. You want to build around Caitlin Clark, right? Like Iowa built their whole entire offense around Caitlin Clark, and it worked to great success. And Indiana's eventually going to have to do that as well, right? Like, she is a unique talent, so kind of in the same way Arike Ogunbowale is as well. They're very unique talents. And that's just not conducive to her benefiting from going and being on this team. You want her to go and mostly sit the bench and sign autographs? Like, is that what you want for her? And the fans of Caitlin Clark, I just wonder sometimes, like, I think that they underestimate her more than anybody else. And that's really got to be very frustrating if you're Caitlin Clark. The people that claim to love you and support you the most really, really infantilizing your entire experience. I mean, they're asking for people to stop playing her so physically. Caitlin's balling. She's doing really well. And that's got to be more satisfying that she's doing so well, getting everybody's best defense, getting, face guarded 90 feet from the basket, something we haven't seen before. Like, that's got to feel good. If it's true that she texted her coach, like, they woke up a monster by not putting me on the Olympic team, good. Like, that motivates athletes, and we love that in our athletes, and good for her. This rest, to answer your last take, this is actually good for Caitlin Clark. It is going to be good for Caitlin Clark. It's going to be good for her in terms of the rest that she's going to get. She's going to get a month off, something that she needs. She went straight from the grind of a college season to this, the physicality. She's going to rest. And then, of course, it's going to fuel her. It's going to fuel her to want to be on that next Olympic team, and for it to be left by no doubt because of her play. I can't wait for when we can make an argument that Caitlin should be on this team, and then you insert reasons that are tangible from her play. Right now, the best argument anybody can make is, well, she's popular and she's growing the sport and she's inspiring. Well, yeah, but all of our Olympians are. And if you're a real patriot, and if you're a real fan of Caitlin Clark fans that are angry right now and threatening to boycott, remember those women that you're insulting. Remember those women that you're turning your back on, that you're refusing to support because they're not Caitlin Clark. Your beloved Caitlin Clark grew up respecting those women and being inspired by those women and wanting to be just like those women. So you're doing her a disservice, and you're doing the sport that she loves a disservice by, in her honor, claiming you're not going to watch any basketball. Like, think about how actually stupid that sounds.
It is going to be a nice little respite. I feel like Caitlin Clark has been, I feel like she's been playing basketball since 2022 nonstop.
She has.
It's been bananas, and we have been talking about it nonstop too, which is equally as bananas. We deserve the
Right.
Iron Man award for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, I was tired. I keep like quoting. Have you seen the Green Mile? You know, John
Yeah.
Cuff asked
Yes.
Boss.
Yeah.
It's just we're like a third of the way through the season, and I am literally. I feel like I have been hit with a battering ram. I'm just like
Listen,
tired.
we're Jimmy Butler in the bubble. We are the Popeyes chicken sandwich release lady. You know what I'm saying? Sitting on the bench, just absolutely disheveled. You know what I'm saying? We just played a triple overtime game every single minute of it. We just played game 2 of the NBA Finals, Luka Doncic style. Had to score every point, had to assist every assist, had to rebound every rebound, and still not win.
Can you
Damn it,
imagine? Like,
Elle.
that's the perfect segue into like, and that's the point is that you can do everything. You can lay out every point. You can really like be well researched and like on it and practical, and you still can't win. And that's
Mhm.
kind of how it feels like the Mavericks are right now. Like,
It's bad.
wow. I mean, every time it looks like, okay, this is the turn that they're making. The Celtics just are too deep. And to your point, their depth being shown right now. We came into this series talking about the dynamic duos and what they were going to do. And it's really been the other guys for the Celtics that have factored so prominently.
I mean, I was just last week years old when I was like, the Mavericks have the best player on the planet, which they do in Luka, and he's shown that. And I said they also have the best tandem in this series. So I'm batting 500, Elle, which will still get me into the Hall of Fame, but that latter take has now made me take a seat in the Hall of Shame because Kyrie Irving, even though, the outward bravado is, it should have been louder in here, TD Garden, that's behind me. I'm 32 now. I've matured. I don't care. I'm in my thing. I'm in my zone. I'm in my element. Whatever element that is, it is an MIA. He's gone milk carton. He's gone missing. I mean, it hasn't been impressive. He's the best distributor of the basketball in our generation, and he's not distributing or scoring like we anticipated that he would. And credit to the Celtics for winning this championship. At least it's what it's shaping up to look like in the offseason by bringing in Derek White and by bringing in Drew Holiday, who was yesterday's hero in the Game 2 win.
Yeah. They 100% could have said, like, we're going to just keep trying and running this thing back. Or the other thing that everyone had been imploring them to do, blow this thing up. Don't give Jaylen Brown max contract money. The man can't dribble to his left. Why would you do that? Like, da-da-da-da. They just can't get it done. And instead, they said, we're all in on this. We're going to give, Jason is the face of our franchise. Him and Jaylen have a great rapport and a great relationship. We're going to keep trying and building around that, bringing in more defense, bringing in these like key parts. I mean, that's the point, is that it's not for a lack of trying by Kyrie. He's just he's being guarded. I mean, he is going up against an absolute defensive stalwart, and they're able to get, to your point, that depth so that when they do, because we have seen stretches where Jason Tatum's gone quiet and gone a bit cold, right? But there's someone else to sort of step up in their absence. And it also helps that right now, the Mavs really are playing sort of a one-man band situation with Luka having to do a little bit of everything just to keep them close. And that's the worst part, Gare Bear, is that like these games aren't particularly close. Yesterday being closer down the stretch, but I think that's been the frustrating part, is that just for swaths of time, it's just the Celtics dominating this team on every single level.
So the series now shifts to Dallas. Do you think, it was a hypothetical that I was running through my head yesterday, the fans of Dallas sport would rather have the Mavericks win this NBA Finals, come back from an 0-2 hole, or get the Cowboys to an NFC Championship game? Not a Super Bowl, because obviously they would take that. Texas, football state, Dallas, obviously a Cowboys country, but to have that level of success with the Cowboys or win the ultimate prize in the NBA for the Mavericks, what do you think they would choose right now?
They don't give a about the NBA. I think just
they say second round of the playoffs.
Yeah,
they
just
would say,
to
just
get
take
right.
me,
Like they
take
won
me to
like
the
not
conference.
that long ago, right? Like this generation won with the Mavs. Like they know it's the Cowboys. It's America's team, and they haven't won since the mid-90s, since I was in elementary school. They want the best shot that they would have had, which would be putting them in the conference. And I actually believe, because you're right, Super Bowl for NBA Finals, that's not even close. But I still believe that they would rather just make a conference championship game in football than win a title in basketball.
You think
I
they
do.
would? Okay. Let's dumb it down even more. Let's boil it down even more. Forget that. An NBA title or extend Dak Prescott.
An NBA title.
Oh, okay. So that's where they draw the line. They're like, yo, we love the Cowboys, but honestly, Dak, we're not really sold on what you can or have yet to do.
Correct. Like
That'll
there's
set
still
them
too
back
much
even
of it.
more years.
Once you get them to a conference championship, anything can happen, but Cowboys fans just need to get them there. So I think the promise of at least getting there and then saying anything could happen is better than just saying, I'm going to give up this title, thinking that Dak Prescott can take us someplace that he's had many years to take them to and has not yet.
All that being said, this series is over, right?
This series is over. I don't believe it'll be a sweep. I do think it's going to go back to Boston. I think
hope so. Boston's been
supercharged.
rocking the last couple of games. I was there for hoop streams. It was a good vibe. People seem to be nice. People, listen, it was loud game one, and the Kyrie soundbite, when I heard him say that the next morning on SportsCenter, we ran, I was like, you know what? He's actually kind of right. And we did this
I wondered, was he just trolling or was he right that they weren't that loud?
They weren't that loud. And I think what it has become too is like finals ticket prices have gotten to an extent where like those fans who be yelling stuff, they're priced out. You know what I'm saying? Just sort of like how the lower bowl at Yankee Stadium or how the Super Bowl has become like a corporate event, right? For like these people with lined pockets, and it's sort of this VIP clientele and 70,000, people who are into sports but aren't into sports like that. I think there's been shades of that in the NBA Finals. I will say yesterday when he did come out of the tunnel, they were loud, but they were even more loud when Kristaps Porzingis came out for warmups. They were louder for KP than they were for when Paul Pierce came down the stairs, when Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown came out to warm up. And I think that's just the fans recognizing that KP was like their hero in game one, even though he came up a little bit limp in game two. So that's going to be a question mark going in to game three.
I've got one for you since you were, of course, in Boston. You covered Boston sports and then you assimilated and became a Boston sports fan despite being from Denver. Do you think that Boston sports fans would trade this NBA championship for a Super Bowl this year, their first Super Bowl with Tom Brady, as just a way to officially put that demon behind them? Do you think they would trade a Super Bowl championship this year for the NBA Finals this year?
No, because the expectations are so limbo bar low right now for the Patriots that even they recognize that's just a hypothetical that's not even worth considering, because the Celtics have been knocking on the door for so long. And listen, 26-27 for Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown isn't old by any metrics in NBA standards. But when you've been in the city for half a dozen years, 7 years now, and you've been on the doorstep for that long, they just gotta jam it in. You know what I'm saying? It's enough of this flirting around stuff. You know what I mean? It's enough of this.
You've been lubing this thing up for a long time now. At this point, you got to just stick it in.
It's been a little bit too much playing around. It's time to seal the deal. You know what I mean? So I feel like right now they need the 18th. They've been talking about this whole 18th banner thing since you and I were in Essen. Making pocket lint. You know what I mean? Struggling, asking where our next meal was going to come from because, the big blue ticket, they were paying you in favors and whatnot.
They really were. This was anytime. Listen, let me give you a cheat code. Okay. Let me give you a pro tip. Anytime somebody says you, they're going to give you a very competitive rate and they say it defensively, you ain't going to get paid. Okay.
No, I remember being told so many times that, man, this is such a good opportunity. Think about the opportunity. And I finally had to say to one of the powers that be there, the initials, the office, he took you to a really weird place upon your visit there.
Yeah.
And I was like, all due respect, I cannot put opportunity in a savings account. I'm sorry, dude, but like, y'all gotta help me. Help me. Anyway.
That weird place that he took me to, by the way, he took a black woman.
Oh my God.
To like a plantation for dinner.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and it was like a full-blown plantation.
And like overtly was like, I'm going to take you. It wasn't like happenstance. It was like, I've decided to take you here.
Yeah. I want you to drive 35 minutes out of the way in a blizzard, your very first day, having just moved to Boston, and I'm going to treat you to dinner at a plantation. So that was great. Gulp. It really should have been an indicator of things to come.
So also same person who referenced one of our former colleagues, was only there for a quick cup of coffee. It's like, so X person is the old model Lexus. What we're trying to bring in is the new model Lexus. And I was like, I don't think you were supposed to say that to me. Yo,
Yeah, there was
it was wild.
there was a few problematic things including when I told this person that I was going to be leaving.
Oh,
He did
gosh.
not have knowledge of the fact that I had been, offered the job that I had a job already lined up. And, he was still trying to convince me to stay. This had been months in the making. You know that. You know how long in the making it had been.
Mhm.
And this person basically told me that as a Black woman in this space, it would be very hard for me to get another job. So I should probably not leave.
Nah, they nailed it for sure. They for sure nailed it. Now you're doing a stupid freaking internet show with me, you know?
Right. I know I really failed. Look, he's somewhere like vindication is mine.
You bombed it, Elle. Hey, okay, before we say too much, should we help or hurt fans of UConn basketball with the impending decision of
Yes.
Coach Dan Hurley leaving? Oh, wait a minute. No, of Coach Dan Hurley staying, because of course we are recording this on a Monday afternoon
Yeah.
ahead of Coach Hurley's decision to stay or go. And we were having a conversation in the group chat of like, how should we approach this? Should we not even mention it? Because maybe by the time it comes out, the decision will be made. No,
Sure.
because we give the people what they want,
Yeah.
what they need, sometimes without being asked to do it. I think we have to role play in this situation, both circumstances. You say what to that?
Okay, I think that's perfect. So basically, it'll be like a choose your own adventure,
Mhm.
and we'll just insert. So we just need to be like really overt with it. So like,
Yeah.
let's tape this right now. Is if he has decided that he is going to stay at UConn.
Okay, wait, hold
Ready?
on. Here we
Okay,
go.
ready?
Oh, wait, hold on, Elle. I just got a tweet. Hold on.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, Elle. Woj
What?
just tweeted, and it's his. Oh gosh, and it's his verified account. Dan Hurley rejecting LA's offer to become their head coach to stay and sign a multi-year extension to remain the head basketball coach at UConn. Oh my God. Can you believe it?
Yay!
Let's
Oh my gosh.
go.
Come on, Connecticut. This is so great for you. I love it. The rumors are true that Dan Hurley's wife and father went out to LA and were super unimpressed. You can keep your Los Angeles. I love my stores, Connecticut. This is where I thrive. Good for you. You promised your boys that they should come back. Alex Caravan took that seriously. And now he didn't pull out of the NBA draft for nothing. It wasn't for naught. Bill Murray's kid, not going to be a head coach yet, apparently, but good on you. Dan Hurley, I love that. You were tempted by the fruit of another, but you stayed true to your Connecticut roots. You get it, Dan Hurley.
Elle, and we knew that because Dan Hurley, he's an East Coast guy. And how many times, right, do you have the opportunity to build something truly special, to be a mainstay, to run it back to back at the collegiate level, at the highest level, top 5 odds to run it back and do a three-peat? He can build his program how he wants. The NIL money and obviously the money surrounding college hoops to NBA, not even comparable, but you can have control over your program. You don't have to uproot yourself at 51 and enter this whole new culture where everybody's going to be piranhas swimming around this tank.
Yeah.
And you're not even the head coach. You're just like the co-coach as long as LeBron James is still on the bench. And then all of the pressure of having to draft Bronny, maybe even if you don't want to draft him. This is the perfect professional move for Hurley to stay at UConn and continue building something special.
Absolutely. Listen, bookmark it with this headline. He chose stores, not stars. Let's go, Dan. Way to go.
That's freaking good.
And scene. All right,
Oh my
now let's
God.
do it. Now let's do it if he leaves. Okay, ready, go.
Hold on, Elle. I just got a text.
Okay.
Woj just texted me in real life. He has my number. Hold on. Yo, G, what up, dog? Great seeing you at the NBA Finals. Bro, you looking mad tall. You smell good, dude. Get your
Okay,
money. Get your paper, player.
Next.
Hey, I just wanted to text you and let you know. Oh my gosh, are you serious? Wanted to just text you and let you know. Dan Hurley has accepted the head coaching position of the Los Angeles Lakers. He will be leaving stores effective immediately. Elle, it happened.
Wow. Wow, he did it. You know what? Good for Dan Hurley.
I'm
This is
saying.
an incredible move for him. He's always wanted to be in the NBA.
Come on.
He took his opportunity, making a little history at UConn, and said, you know what? Sure, I could try to go for 3 in a row, but that shit doesn't ever happen. I'm going to capitalize. I'm going to leverage my popularity and my championships, 2 of them back to back, and I'm going to get my dream job. And I'm going to hopefully get 10 years, $125 million to sweeten the pot, because we know that job's real volatile in LA and people don't make it 3 seasons. But me, Dan Hurley, I'm going to make it. We're going to do it. Those rumors about my wife not liking LA, my dad not liking it, that's not true. They love it. They love the shopping. They love the weather. It's all good. Good for you, Dan Hurley. You could have stayed small, but you decided to be a small fish in a big pond. And I love that for you. What an incredible move, Gary.
Elle, I couldn't agree with you more. This is obviously the move that we expected him to make, anticipated him on making. And if he would have decided to stay at UConn, are you kidding me? That's a freaking joke. The only reason that we're in Connecticut is because we are beholden to the worldwide leader. By the way, I will stay in Connecticut for the rest of my life so long as that remains true. But what I'm saying, man, you cannot say no to this opportunity. Was he making crazy bread in Connecticut? Is he the highest paid state employee in the state of Connecticut?
Sure.
Yes, $5 million. But how can you sit in a room with your recruits and tell them straight up that you're not going to take a pay raise that's 3x what you're making now? $15 million to now be the head coach and head of basketball operations for the second most top 3 most storied franchise in the National Basketball Association. It would be absolutely asinine to not attach yourself to LeBron freaking James. You don't even have to coach the team, because you know LeBron, he's head coach, half obviously point guard on the court. All you have to do and worry about is drafting Bronny this coming draft and building him up, cultivating his talents.
What an honor to start Bronny's career, right?
Because what are you? You are an engineer of culture. And now you can take your culture from Connecticut and basically copy and paste that to Los Angeles, which is going to be seamless, because you are one of the best basketball coaches in the freaking sport. This was an absolute no-brainer to me, Elle, and I know, and I'm glad that you and I both agree on this.
Yeah, listen, here's a headline for you, and you can end market with this right here. Dan Hurley, chasing stars and not stores. And good for him. Don't we all want to chase the stars? That's what we teach our children. Congratulations, Dan Hurley. You're moving on. And congratulations to Bill Murray's son for probably getting the head coach.
You're so stupid. Yo, hold on.
You know,
the headline play is so funny.
It's so good. And we're just going to leave both of them in. Honestly, we're going to leave both of them in so you can see what happens when people decide on the fly which way they're going to go. I'm going to just read the tea leaves and see which way I'm going to go with this. I do have to ask you this, though, depending on how it goes. This sound from Geno Auriemma, does it make him sound like a prognosticator, or does it make him sound like a hater?
We're taping this for the second time because we had a tech snafu.
Yeah, but here's the thing. It was a really good podcast. Geno Auriemma came by, made some sort of joke that I can't remember now because it's lost to digital history.
Geno Auriemma came by, and we said hi to him in the middle of the podcast. He crashed Geno Auriemma crashed the podcast.
I know, and
then he said something like,
I said, congrats on getting your new contract. I was worried that you may not keep the job.
Yes, you were very worried.
And he said, of course, it's lost to history. Now it doesn't matter what I say.
Something about Cleveland.
He said I should have had Cleveland offer me the job. I could have maybe gotten a better contract.
What's that? I was going to call you and see if you can negotiate for me. Just put it out there that the Cavs were looking at me.
Does he sound like a prophet or a hater?
Geno Auriemma just sounded like one of the boys, just trying to mix it up in that conversation. Man, he don't want to go anywhere. Geno's goated. He's posted. He doesn't want to give up that Hartford Golf Club membership. All right, I would love to get in, Geno. I need 8 recommendation letters. But no, man, I'll tell you one thing. Geno Auriemma ain't leaving what he's built there to go to freaking Cleveland. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, that's not what's going to happen. He's just trying to, get back to that.
He's trying to leverage more money.
That negotiating table, and he'd be a fool not to. But if Dan Hurley leaves, man, that opens up the floodgate to be like, hey, man, I am him. I have been him. I continue to be him. Hook a brother up.
Well, I mean, he just signed an extension. There was a lot of
Correct.
rumors that Geno was going to be leaving. He just signed an extension. But he's not wrong. You know, the one thing UConn really doesn't have going for itself is that they don't have a football program. They can't, you know, I think about the fact that like if all of this was happening at a place like Alabama, which still where football is king, but like, you know, they take pride in their basketball. If all of this, if Dan Hurley was the Alabama coach, they could absolutely be competitive with the Lakers for his pay. 100% easy, no problem. But UConn, the moneymaker is the basketball. Like they don't have football to lean on in terms of revenue to like give some of these coaches these insane contracts. And so the best way to leverage them is to leverage them against, you know, NBA, WNBA opportunities. And that's exactly what he's going to do. But yes, it would be great, I think, for Connecticut if Dan Hurley stayed. If he does not stay, they will be okay. You know, they'll figure it out. But it would be disappointing because that's probably the prevailing storyline for, you know, men's basketball next year is the pursuit of history.
That's actually such a good point because you got middle tier SEC coaches making 7, 8, 9 M's. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Didn't Jimbo sign A&M over 10 mil and they're still paying him for that?
Yeah. I mean, they make insane money. But again, they've got unlimited coffers and they've got alumni that will pay for that. It's just different for Connecticut and for basketball. So that's really the one thing they have working for them or working against them. They just don't have a football powerhouse to, you know, pull supplies from to try to secure some of these legacy coaches, but we'll certainly see what happens. Either way, we got your back.
That's right. I think we have to say this disclaimer. This was recorded before Dan Hurley actually makes his decision. So everything that we say is just for nice visits to the Chuckle Hut. But does Woj actually have my phone number? Also, no. It would be nice, though, if he said something cool and nice to me like that.
And he would never text. If he was going to give you any information, he would call you and say it to you. He would never text you. That's how I know he's never given you any information.
Well, Elle, it sounds like somebody who's gotten a call from Woj. Hold on.
Just saying, I know how these guys work, man. You don't ever want a paper trail. You don't put it down in writing. You don't do that. No paper trail.
Hold on. Has Woj hit you up on the bat line?
I'm not going to tell you. I'm not going to
tell you.
Because then he'll never do it again.
You don't got to tell me the information. You don't got to tell me the information, but you can tell me if Woj has hit you up and be like, yo, Elle, I'm joining the 6 p.m. Sports Center. Just giving you a heads up. This is some stuff I'm about to drop.
No, he doesn't do that. I have asked questions before about things, and then he will call and tell me, you know,
that's awesome.
Specific to a question that I have. But no, he's not like, look, you know, no. He will give us our show group a heads up. Like I could potentially have something.
That's awesome.
He'll never tell you what it is. Like he won't even give you a ballpark. So that you pull B-roll and stuff. You know, his information is incredibly valuable and needs to be kept secret. You know, if he gets jumped even a minute early, like he loses that. So, but no, Woj is a good dude. And, you know, mostly it's like propaganda stuff. It's silly, you know, when are they going to go get this guy? Or what is the reputation of that guy? But no, he's a true professional. So undoubtedly he's going to end up getting the story.
Real quick Woj story, because everybody understands the aura of Woj. And when I first started at ESPN, he would, you know, hang around, obviously for SportsCenter at night, and we were doing bits for Snapchat. And I was like, screw it. I want to do this bit with Woj. And I went up to him and I was like, hey, Woj, I'm Gary. I'm wondering if we can like do this bit with you. And he couldn't have been like nicer in the infancy of my ESPN career. And then I saw him at the finals. It was the Cleveland finals in 2018. He was like, hey, anytime you need Snapchat, let me know. I would love to be on any show you need because my son watches Snapchat. So that's the one time he sees me is when I'm on Snapchat. So that was like the cosign I needed from Woj. And then I saw him in the cafeteria and I asked him to do another bit that involved his phone. And I don't think at the time his phone had a passcode and he just handed me his phone. And I was like, dude, this is like being handed the Magna Carta, the freaking, you know what I'm saying? The Holy Grail, dude. There's no passcode and he just slides it to me. I'm like, Woj, this got some international secrets in it. I do not want to be responsible. Don't quote me on the passcode. Maybe it was already open at the time and unlocked, but he handed me his phone as if to say, like, I trust you, don't F it up. And because I don't trust myself, I handed it right back to him.
You're like, I don't want it. I don't want this responsibility.
He probably
watching Woj work is a marvel.
It was probably unlocked at the time.
It's a marvel, man, watching him work. Like it's really, really cool to get the privilege to kind of see him do his thing. Schefter, like the way that they, maneuver and make it all work, like it is a job that I would not
Literal
want.
titans of the industry are all at
They really are.
ESPN.
They really
Crazy.
are. All right, before we get out of here, I wonder if in the moment these famous people realize, like, I just became a meme, because certainly we have plenty of James Harden memes throughout his illustrious basketball career. He always has a knack for like encapsulating everything you need to know all in the eyes. And he did it again when he saw a glimpse of his future and did not like it. Over the weekend, he was at a wedding. He was not at our producer, Christina Buswell's wedding. Congratulations,
Christina. Beautiful bride. Awesome looking wedding. Wish
gorgeous,
I came. Invitation.
stunning. Thanks for
Probably
the
got lost in the
invite.
mail.
Yeah, we're waiting on. It's fine. It's cool.
Yeah. No, I've moved a couple times, so I understand.
Yeah.
It probably got.
Sorry
probably
that I
got
never
lost.
got back to you about it. I
Yeah,
must
probably
have
got
got lost in translation or something. So he's at this wedding with his girlfriend, is James Harden, and then the obligatory bouquet toss. It lands at her feet. She grabs it, and he gives a look like, "Oh, I don't want to have this conversation." And also, why were you so excited to grab the bouquet? I think that's the fun part of the bouquet toss. I did not do that at my wedding. I wasn't really into watching women trample each other it just seems like all a little like desperate and silly to me. I didn't do it, but I do enjoy not participating. I don't participate in it, but I do enjoy watching the dates of the women who act like psychopaths.
Oh, yeah.
To get to the bouquet, like they're like, "Oh my God.
I'm next.
This idea that you would embarrass yourself in this way. You're wearing a dress, woman. You're wearing heels. Like the idea that you would like, crawl up someone's back like a DB to try to get a bouquet of flowers just so that you might be the next one married. It's just like it's a little pitiful." And so,
Well, some men like athletes, so sometimes you like to see that display out there. You know what I mean? Just sort of in the wild, on the field. Like,
You do. I feel like that's something that is like cool when you guys are having like a game of cornhole, or you're playing a flag football game at a tailgate and you realize, yo, my chick can like,
we're just
she can
trucking
throw.
women.
That's dope. But when it comes specifically to the bouquet thing, it feels a little, well, it doesn't feel like a display of athleticism. It feels like a display of desperation. Like I've literally watched women like knock each other over. Like women are falling on the ground trying to catch a bouquet.
I would love to get ESPN stats and info on the number, causation correlation of the women who throw bouquets, receive them, and then what is the ultimate marriage percentage? Because if it's above 50%, Vegas tells you to smash those odds all day, every day. But back to the James Harden reaction, I think that he should be a little bit more welcoming to this, because at 34 years old, okay, the wedding ring might be the first and only ring this man gets. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Now, hey, come on. He's gotten close. All right, with Houston and the Rockets and whatnot, but like this ring might be the only ring in James Harden's future. So he should just be a little bit more receptive. He should be a little bit more receptive to this possible lifelong teammate. You know what I mean?
That sucks, man. He just wants this ring so bad, and he's ultimately going to have to buy it for himself. Oh,
damn, that's crazy.
Brutal.
Damn.
Oh, that's brutal. Yeah, man. That is absolutely brutal. I hate that for you. By the way, on our way out, weddings are great revealers of relationships. Like weddings either bring couples together or absolutely tear them apart. If you're like a little bit on the edge, or you're like wondering, you've got some question marks about your relationship, go to a wedding. It will reveal everything. I'm just saying you should go and see how you feel. My weddings brought a couple couples together and broke some up.
It also brought some strangers. You forgot to tell that story if you want to tell that in like 60 seconds.
Yeah. Well, as mentioned in the podcast last year, I got married in Costa Rica, and we were having like a little welcome, cocktails, because we essentially rented out this entire hotel. It was a boutique hotel. It was a boutique hotel. So it was all of our wedding guests and party. We had like 110 people show up to Costa Rica for this wedding. And, I'm like noticing like Omar, my husband, soon to be, talking to this guy. I was like, who is that? And he was just like, oh, that's blah, blah, blah. Like he kind of showed up as Justin's friend, and it just came up to me and said like, I'm crashing your wedding. It looked really cool. But here's $300. So like, so he was a part of the festivities until, of course, the friend that he drafted the invite off of got into a horrific ATV accident and had to fly to Costa Rica, to the capital of Costa Rica to get some titanium ribs. So he did not come to the wedding. He felt like that was in poor taste.
Damn.
Showing up, not in poor taste, but with my friend not being able to come because he was in the hospital, he did not show up. So yeah, he was a cool dude though. If you're gonna be a wedding crasher, be that wedding crasher. He was pretty cool. Cool vibe. Didn't try to do too much. Didn't try to become the life of the party. He definitely wasn't on his Vince Vaughn, Owen Wilson. It was cool. It was fine.
He was just trying to catch a vibe in Costa Rica.
He was like, I just want to come. I think this wedding's gonna be dope. He literally was like, I just felt like your wedding would be dope.
And we know he wasn't wrong.
He was not.
That's awesome.
You know what would be dope, Gary, to spend a little time with you in the studio. How about we do that on Thursday?
It's a date. Can't wait.
Okay.
Boom.
Thursday.
Hey,
See you Thursday.
Make me a promise.
Yes.
Can we please lead the show with Caitlin Clark? We haven't talked enough about her. Come on, please. One time. Make me a promise. One time.
I'll try my best.
Thank you, Elle. See you Thursday.
We'll see you Thursday. Remember, rate us, review us, subscribe, do all of that good stuff. We'll see you on Thursday.
Peace.